Good morning! Happy Wednesday! Hatid sa inyo ng Daily Tribune at Radyo Bandido TV ang Gising Na. Ito ang omnimedia program na mapapanood tuwing Lunes, Miyerkules at Biyernes sa Daily Tribune's official Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube at simulcast din tayo sa DZRJ 8:10 AM. Ako po si Kim Sancha. Mula alas 7:30 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga, ating pag-uusapan at tayo ay magkukwentuhan tungkol sa mga trending entertainment news at inspiring lifestyle stories, mapa local at international, dahil ganyan ang buhay dito sa Gising Na. Isang linggo na nga ang nakalipas mula nang ipakilala ng Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated or BPCI ang new set of queens na kakatawan sa bansa sa iba't ibang international pageant competitions. In fact, 3 sa 58th edition newly crowned queens ay sasabak na agad sa kani-kanilang international competitions sa Egypt, Albania at Indonesia. Yan ay sina Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental Gabriel Camille Basiano, Binibining Pilipinas Globe Chelsea Lovely Fernandez at Binibining Pilipinas Grand International Roberta Angela Tamundong na ating nakapanayam noong Lunes ng live. Siyempre, kasama ko si Dina. At ngayong araw, ang makakausap naman natin ay ang 21-year-old interior design student of the University of San Carlos who took home the highest title of the most prestigious beauty pageant in the country in the wee hours of August 1st sa Araneta Coliseum. Prior to joining the competition, she's into photography and furniture refurbishing, had won as Miss Silka Cebu 2017, Sinulog Festival Queen 2019, Reyna ng Aliwan 2019, and Miss Millennial 2019. Please welcome Binibining Pilipinas International 2022, Nicole Borromeo of Cebu. Good morning and welcome to the show, Nicole.
Good morning, Kim. Magandang umaga.
Ayan. So, how are you? Nag-sync in na ba sa'yo yung pagiging isang binibini queen mo?
Well, to be honest, every day that has passed, I would wonder to myself, like, this is day 2 of being International Philippines. And now it's been more than a week, and I'm really happy with how I'm feeling. I'm happy with the results, and I can't wait for what's in store for us and the rest of the girls who are competing this October.
Right. And how did your family, friends, and fans react?
Oh my gosh, they were in tears, tears.
Really?
I was very lucky to have my mom and my boyfriend fly in from Cebu. My grandparents couldn't make it.
Oh.
But I had my whole team, Origin, they were there as well. Also from Aces and Queens, they watched live. And I saw from the videos that they were taking when the announcements of the results came out, they were just bawling their eyes out. And when I think the next day, I actually called my dad, and he was telling me the same thing, that he was in tears. And my mom got a headache from all the replies because she wants to say thank you to everybody. Both my parents were just busy saying thank you to everyone who was congratulating them.
All right.
And I've been doing the same.
Okay. And are they planning victory parties for you? I mean, your friends, fans, the camp, or anyone else?
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna have a homecoming, but we just have to decide on a specific date that we want to have it on, because in line with our media rounds, as well as like the planning with the LGUs, there's a lot of things to coordinate with, as well as the people involved. So a date has not been set yet, but when it does, I'll be sure to let everybody know.
Okay. And Nicole, I hope you don't mind asking, where are you at the moment?
I'm at a friend's place since Her name's Teresa. I
Hi.
currently don't have any Wi-Fi. She's not in the room. I'm not letting her stay in here. I don't want her to watch me while I'm doing this interview with you. It's like
Okay.
someone breathing down my neck. I don't want to be watched like this. But yeah, she was sweet enough to let me stay in her room because I'm having Wi-Fi problems at home. She's very sweet, and she was there too. She watched me live. It was so funny. She was also in tears.
Yeah, I can
She's like,
see
"I'm just
that.
so proud of you. I'm just so proud of you."
I love your attitude, huh? The very positive and upbeat and perky. That's what I noticed about
Thank
you.
you.
You're
I
welcome.
mean,
This is actually my
I'm surrounded
first.
by the best people.
Sorry, this is actually my first time to interview you. I mean, virtual. I saw you many times, but in terms of interviewing, this is my first time actually.
Oh,
So,
when was the first time you saw me?
uh, I forgot what's the event, but I actually saw you one time, so I cannot remember anymore. But just once when I saw you. So
That one time,
yeah,
sometime,
yeah,
a few years back. Don't know
yes, yes,
when.
exactly. But not in the
Somewhere.
Binibini, but it's actually an event. I can't remember anymore, but it's an event that I
I,
saw you.
I had a feeling it was an event.
And then of course the coronation. I saw you in the coronation, and the backstage with a photo taking with our photographer. That's the last time I saw you. As Binibini.
No,
Yes.
because back then I was just Nicole Borromeo. But now,
And now you are Binibining Pilipinas International. Oh, see? Okay.
oh,
Right. And Nicole, what's the sweetest or most encouraging message did you receive from your family, friends, or fans before, during, and after the coronation?
oh, to say the most touching is hard to like pinpoint, but I'd say for my family it
Mm-hmm.
was them repeatedly telling me that with or without a crown they were proud of me. I actually placed it in my thank you message because I felt like that was such a joy to be reminded of,
Mm-hmm.
that it was unconditional love from them,
Mm-hmm.
that they never forced me into these things. It was just whatever I chose in life, they would be there to support me. And I think that's really great parenting. With my friends, they were always believing in me from the start,
Mm-hmm.
and they would claim it, and they would just hype me up. They're the best. They would even show their support by reposting on their stories on social media. And during Beanie Beanie, I was so lucky to have been blessed with my Nick Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to them. They would give me gifts every now and then. They would not only wait after rehearsals,
Uh-huh.
they would even give little snacks,
Uh-huh.
or like, okay, this one time I received a stuffed toy and it came with a little note, and inside the note it was saying things along the lines of, you're my you're my role model,
Mm-hmm.
you're my Miss International. This was before I won, right? And you're really somebody I look up to. Thank you for being you.
Mm-hmm.
And it really warms my heart that growing up I didn't have that person that I'd say I looked up to. Like, it was multiple figures.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to be told, like, thank you for just simply being me, it feels so fulfilling. Like, I
Uh-huh.
haven't even done anything yet, and you have this faith in me, you believe in me,
Uh-huh.
and it's empowering. It makes me want to continue to do things, and
Right.
with my reign being longer,
Uh-huh.
it just feels like the possibilities are endless.
That's very nice. And Nicole, what's the first thing you did the following day?
Oh, the following day. I think this is something everybody does the following day. I ate.
Mm.
I ate. I ate and I genuinely savored every moment of the meal.
Uh-huh.
And actually, while we were waiting for the meal, I called my dad,
Uh-huh.
and that's when he was telling me the news that, I stayed up. I was watching the live, and I honestly don't expect my friends or family to stay up because not all of them are into pageants, and they can always see the results the day after, and the
Right.
pageant ended super late, like in the wee hours of the
Mm-hmm.
morning of August 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad, he was telling me that he was like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You know, with the deliberation taking so long as well.
Yes.
He was he would always say like, Lord, I'll be happy with whatever result you give.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't need the crown. But when he got the news, he was bawling as well. He woke my
Mm-mm.
brother up in the middle of the night just to tell him like, your sister, she won a crown. Your sister won a crown.
Uh-huh.
And my dad, he's very expressive,
Uh-huh.
so it's so easy to picture it out.
Uh-uh.
And I started bawling too. Like, I was in tears, grabe, naiyak ako.
Uh-uh.
And I was leaning on my boyfriend, and I was just like,
Mm-mm.
and I was just like, I'm so happy, Dad. And he was like, you're gonna help so many people. The reach you have, it's gonna change so many things. And I was like, you're right.
Mhm.
And so I can just imagine like the waiters or like the other guests in the restaurant, just like, she is having a very emotional day. This girl.
All right. Uh, it's actually the same experience that Rowan and Gab experienced.
Yeah, they both called their
Yes,
parents.
with
I
the
think Rowan's
father.
parents were. I don't know, because my mom, she's very sweet and she
Uh-huh.
was there, and so I got to hear it from her versus my dad, who I haven't seen in months
Hmm.
because of the journey here in Binibini.
Hmm. Right.
So I do miss him.
Of course, you're gonna miss her. And Nicole, given the fact that you've competed in different pageant competitions, do you still feel nervous?
Every time.
Oh.
Every time, especially for interviews too. You really have to remind yourself that it's not as scary as you think it is. My brain tends to overthink how it's going to go.
Hmm.
And growing up, I was very shy. I'm not the best at words either. So it's good to remind yourself that you need to breathe first.
Mm-mm.
You need
Right.
to breathe, relax, and tell yourself that these people aren't out for you. These people are interviewing you. They want to hear what you have to say, and you shouldn't be afraid to use your voice.
Hmm.
So it's very. I take a lot of pride in how far I've come
Hmm.
because I was a very shy girl. I was very afraid,
Hmm.
but I'd say the fear isn't as strong now as it used to be.
Hmm. Right. Safe.
So I have more courage,
Mm-mm.
and I'm lucky I have aces and queens to have
Right.
helped me, as well as Origin.
And how about pressure? How do you handle the pressure? Of course, this was Binibini, and has it changed now that you're a Binibini title holder?
I like to look at it as motivation
Mm.
rather than pressure in the sense that it's paralyzing,
Hmm.
right? Because pressure can be taken differently. I'd say this kind of pressure is a privilege that not a lot of people get the chance to experience.
Right.
The fact that not only the judges but the org has faith in me and my ability to impact people, and I've said it in my thank you message, but I'm not going to take this one lightly. And I'm hoping to make plans with a timeline and everything. Perhaps after the media rounds, we can dive right into it.
Hmm. Right.
So I'm very proud.
I can see that. And of course, you said that you consider the pressure as a form of motivation. So, in connection with that, who motivates you to continue, or who inspires you to work harder?
Oh, to be honest with you, it isn't one particular person.
Mm-mm.
I like to see it in the people around me. So it's not just limited to family and friends, it's
Mm-hmm.
even to people that I meet. And hello, being in Binibining Pilipinas, you are surrounded by all these women, not
Right.
just and not just the candidates, including the org, the people behind production.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many places to take inspiration from. There's so much to learn from
Mm-hmm.
in all walks of life. So there's always room for growth for you.
Right.
And it's just a matter of how you look at it.
Mm-mm. And Nicole, of course, you have like an idol or a role model. So, who's your local and international role model?
Local?
Mm-hmm.
A local role model?
Yeah.
Well, hmm, locally speaking, I would love to get in touch with this graphic designer. Her
Okay.
name is Sabarda. I haven't messaged her yet. I
Mm-hmm.
guess that part is very Kia. She started at a very volunteering, and her goal is to encourage everybody that you don't have to be somebody special to make a difference. You don't have to be like the next Albert Einstein. You don't have to be like the next big thing. You just have to be yourself if you want to bring change into the world. So it's kind of similar to that saying that be the change,
Mm-hmm.
be the change you want to see. So starting with yourself, and she's into poetry. She also does art.
Mm-hmm.
And she does it in such a creative way to bring more people together. She tells the stories of those in the minority, and it really just brings justice. She founded, I think it's called For the Future
Mm-hmm.
NGO, and I have yet to see if I can work with her. Who knows? Maybe she'll say yes. Maybe she'll say yes. And in terms of internationally speaking, I really admire Oprah Winfrey,
Of course.
and it's mainly for her ability to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
In many of her interviews, she has had people cry on the set.
Yes.
If you've seen them, and it's more than just what she says. It's how she says it, her body language with them. It really makes them feel like they can open up to her, that they're allowed to be vulnerable, that they're allowed to be safe, to feel safe, and to have these open, honest conversations with her. And it would be the best thing if we could have that environment everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to make that same impact.
Yes. I agree on what you said, Nicole. And was
Who's your role model?
was becoming a beauty queen your ultimate dream ba?
Growing up, no, not
Oh.
at all. Growing up, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a painter.
Oh. So
I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody, and couldn't look people in the eye.
mm-hmm.
Super shy kid, super. I remember my tito, he would tell me like, I thought that you just hated everyone because I wouldn't say a thing. I would just like stare at them.
Uh-huh.
So he's like,
Mm-hmm.
coming from my tito, huh? I'm like, okay.
Mm-mm.
I was just, you didn't think maybe I was just a shy kid?
Mhm.
Too shy. So my way of expressing would always be to draw or to paint. I used to make little doodles for my parents and slide it under the door.
Mhm.
They would be like, oh, thank you, Nick, and they would keep it in the box. Oh, there it is. I
Yes.
see it. That's me doing a sketch. That was really outside of my comfort zone because the preparation for that was very minimal because I didn't want to waste the illustration board. So what I did instead was I just placed the easel stand at the middle of the stage, and I was just trying to visualize. I was like, okay, and I'm looking back at the blank audience, and I look at the canvas, and I look back, but I didn't actually get to draw on the illustration board until the day of the talent show. And hopefully, with more time on my hands, I'll get back into painting because I haven't done it in years.
Okay. Do you have a specific subject?
A subject that I am most passionate about.
Yes.
Well, I'm currently studying interior design, so the priority isn't focused on a canvas, but rather through a software, we're translating our expression in an interior, because you can't deny that our environment, it shapes the way we think. It's the physical manifestation of our minds.
All right.
So if you can create the environment that induces feelings of relaxation, of productivity, then as interior designers, we must be doing a good job.
Right.
I didn't graduate yet, so take
I
this
know.
with a grain of salt.
You're still a student. You're still studying.
Yeah, I'm still studying, but I am lucky enough to apply what I'm learning into my own. And in a way, it is art. It's art. It's expression.
You're
just in a
right.
different.
I
But my favorite subject, though, we had freehand drawing,
Yes.
and that was one of my favorites
Oh, okay. I
because
got
it was something I did growing up.
Okay. Great. If you didn't win ba, would you have tried your luck next time?
Oh, I actually told this to my manager. I said that I would take it as a sign.
All right.
If I don't make it this year, I wasn't sure if I was going to be joining the next year. Like the likelihood of me joining again was very, very low. I know that I really have so much respect for girls who join the same pageant again. Come on, we have our Miss Universe, Pia Wurtzbach joined 3 times.
Right.
But that's just not how I work. And I really admire her for it, because it takes a lot of strength and courage to do something.
Right.
Because if I would likely have been discouraged, if I'm being honest. This isn't just a month-long journey, it's 3 months, and it feels even longer because you have to cut off and sacrifice so many things when you join Binibining Pilipinas.
Right.
Like, I know girls who have stopped working. There's no money coming in. I'm lucky enough to still have school and my parents supporting me, my family supporting me. While others, they have to pay their own rent for a span of how many months, and it's not even guaranteed whether you're going to win or not.
Right.
But people see the significance, the impact that Binibining Pilipinas has on its girls. Because win or lose, you walk away with something. It could be the sisterhood, it could be the values that you learn. So, in terms of me joining again, I would probably not.
Oh, all right.
It's so emotionally draining. It takes so much out of you. But I admire many of their attorneys, like Gabby. Ask any of the girls. You will know that there was something that they had to let go of just to be on that stage, just to have the chance to be part of the history of Binibining Pilipinas.
Yes. The history, the legacy, and the beauty of the most prestigious beauty pageant in the country. And it's a good thing that you won. You don't need to join next year because you are the title holder. Like, the Binibining Pilipinas International, it's you.
Well, I didn't join this pageant without some form of self-belief that I'm capable of winning. But it's not to mean that I'm trying to be arrogant. But it also came with the acceptance that if it wasn't for me this year, I wasn't going to lose myself. Because that tends to happen. Like, it has happened to me in the past. Like, when you don't get what you were expecting, when you don't get what you want, you immediately think that it equates to your worth. But with this pageant, I joined with the right mindset that if it's for me, it's for me. And if it's not, that's okay. Because so many of the girls this year, it could have been anyone. It's not to say I'm more beautiful than the rest of you. I just think that the stars aligned for me that night. But it could have easily aligned for the other girls because I know that the women, because we spent 3 months together, right?
Right.
These women, they had it been somebody else, I believe that they would have had a very wonderful reign as well.
Right. I agree on what you said, Nicole. What's
Thank
your
you.
You're welcome. What's your advice to aspiring beauty queens?
Um, have courage. Have courage. There have been so many times in my life where I had told myself I couldn't do something because I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't this enough, I wasn't pretty enough. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I made so many excuses for myself that I realized in the years later how much I regretted not taking the opportunities that were in front of me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, like we're just so afraid to fail. We think that failure means that we ourselves are failures. But it's in our failures that we learn our values. We learn what we want out of life. In the failure, we're one step closer to achieving what we want for ourselves, like what you decide to tolerate, what you don't. And there's always something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, but it really does humble you. It humbles you too. Like, you're only human and life is short.
Mm-hmm.
So have the courage to take the risk.
Mm-mm.
Have the courage to fail.
Right.
I'm not telling you to be fearless. I'm just saying that,
No, I understand. No worry. Go ahead, please.
right? Like, don't. I'm not fearless at all.
Mm-hmm.
I overthink so many things, but life moves, and change is ever constant. So if you're gonna fail, at least you were the person who dared to do so, versus the people standing on the side judging you.
Right. And Nicole, our conversation is actually getting, interesting, exciting. But before we continue, we'll pause for a break. Stay tuned. Magbabalik ang Gising Na. And you are still watching Gising Na. And still with us, of course, is Binibining Pilipinas International 2022, Nicole Borromeo. Welcome back, Nicole.
Good to be back.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure that you are with us this morning. And you woke up very early for this show. We appreciate
How did
that.
you?
Me too. Yes. So, of course, we know that Binibinis have chosen advocacy, right? So, in regards to your chosen advocacy, is it something that you can relate with?
Absolutely. I'd love to share about it.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, last December, we had the worst typhoon.
Mm.
The Typhoon Odette. and my Christmas was very different from the usual.
Yes.
No Christmas tree, there was no star.
Mm-hmm.
It was spent with family, thank God. We were all physically safe. But we didn't have water, we didn't have electricity,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have Wi-Fi either. So you can just imagine how scary it
Yes.
felt not being able to ask how your loved ones were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were struggling to get gas as well because the lines were long and the roads were blocked because trees, posts have fallen. I've always compared it to an apocalypse because that was just terrible.
Yes.
And that was the first time I've experienced something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, it happens more often than you think
Yes.
because of where we are situated on the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like it's necessary to have disaster resilient housing.
Mm-hmm.
We need homes that are prepared for these things. I like to consider myself very, very fortunate. I have a roof over my head,
Mm-hmm.
but even with a storm like that, my windows were shattered. The home that I grew up in, furniture flew out.
Mm-hmm.
The tiles on the roof flew out. It was very, very bad. The cars were damaged as well because of all of the debris that was flying.
Mm-hmm.
And still, that was considered fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, I received messages wherein their roofs were literally blown off.
Mm-hmm.
How can you picture that?
Yes.
I cannot picture sitting at home and seeing the roof come off above
Mm-mm.
me.
Yes.
But it happened to people I know.
Mm-mm.
Can you imagine your own friends experienced that? And I got that message about at least a month after,
Mm-mm.
the typhoon. And 3 months after that, I found out that there were other people, an island that I know, where they still didn't have anything.
Mm-mm.
The water they drank had to be delivered from the city to the island.
Oh
They
my
didn't
God.
have they didn't have Wi-Fi as well,
Mm-mm.
and their homes were damaged so severely that I realized, why aren't we doing enough? This is something that is very necessary. It's like one of the basic human rights, a home,
Yes.
shelter. And if you don't have a home, what makes you think you have the mental capacity to take on life, right? I know other homes don't even have floors.
Mm-mm.
Like, it would just be the soil. And so I'm happy that I got the chance to get in touch with people of Habitat for Humanity.
Mm-mm.
This very credible NGO that have been giving their aid to the
Mm-mm.
victims of typhoons. And even when there wasn't any typhoon going on, they were working on resilient housing.
Mm-mm.
I used to think to myself that I had to do all these things to help people. I needed to give them a house. But the reality is, you can only do so much on your own.
Mm-hmm.
When you have someone credible, when you have an organization, a community who has been doing this for years,
Mm-mm.
if not decades, why don't you start there?
Mm-mm.
Right? You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your own.
Mm-hmm.
When you have people in the industry who have been doing it for so long, you could make so much together
Mm-hmm.
versus on your own.
Mm-mm.
And luckily, I got the chance to meet with them. I even hosted one of their events.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO, Jonathan Reckford, also flew in,
Mm-mm.
and it just solidified that I want to continue this. I want to be a part of this.
Mm-mm.
And I hope with Binibining Pilipinas,
Mm-mm.
we're going to be reaching so many places, even outside of Cebu, the whole
Okay.
country. And there's a solid long-term goal here,
Right.
rather than just a one-time relief pack distribution. This is going to be long-term,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy for that. Like, this is tangible. This is going to legit change lives.
Mm-mm.
No one deserves to be homeless.
Mm-mm.
It
Right.
just ticks off so many boxes.
Right. And Nicole, if I may just share to you, I experienced that, the flying roof. I experienced that because,
Really?
yes, I am from a province in Laguna,
I'm
storm. So
so
I
sorry.
experienced that too. So I
So
know
you
how it
can, you
feels.
yourself can imagine,
Yes.
like, I can't, like, it's like being robbed. Like,
Mm,
literally, like, it's off your head. And what if it rains?
yes.
What do you do when it rains? So your house gets flooded, all your stuff,
Yes.
everything you've worked for. It's like, it angers
Mm,
me.
right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You have to be angry.
Yes.
You have to be passionate. You have to be irritated enough to
Mm,
want to make a difference. And I'm happy to say that Binibining Pilipinas heard what I had to say, and they
yes.
told me that we are willing to help.
Mm,
With this rain, we can help so many people.
yeah.
I'm no professional, okay? I'm not the smartest. I said it before. I'm not the smartest.
Mm,
I'm not the most intellectual person on the matter. I can't tell you all of the parts of
mm,
all of the factors of
right.
disaster resilient housing. I can't even tell you how to survive a disaster.
Mm-mm.
I know the duck cover, you know, I am not an expert,
Mm-mm.
but all you have to do is have the heart,
Right.
and you'll have the experts,
Mm-mm.
and you can learn from the experts.
Yes. Agree. I agree. And also, Nicole, of course, it's not easy to become an inspiring beauty queen, right? So it involves everything like time, effort, and money. And earlier you were mentioning where you obtain or your support system. So, are there any other things or people that helped you along the way in this journey?
Outside of people I've mentioned,
Yes.
well, I'm happy. I'm hoping to say thank you so much to my LGUs. It's
Right.
been throughout the journey, it was a little difficult to get in touch with them considering I'm all the way here in Manila.
Mm-hmm.
You can't forget we also had elections.
Mm-mm.
And so hopefully I'll be able to make more courtesy calls when I have my homecoming. So
Mm.
shout out to them. Shout out to my family who didn't get to fly in. I know that it's not easy. We can't ignore that COVID is still around.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel safer at home, they're allowed to send their support online. I've been receiving messages and I'm trying to reply to everybody. So shout out to you,
Uh-huh.
to all of these supporters that grew over the time, because I heard that a lot of them started noticing me in the near end,
Mm-mm.
like a few weeks before the pageant. And I received so much love and encouragement
Mm-mm.
that I wish to thank you all. And if I haven't yet, just please be patient with me. Like, I felt so much pressure when I had friends tell me, like, why aren't you replying to me? What's taking so long? And I'm like, I'm trying to reply to everybody,
Oh, yeah.
please. Please. So I'm very grateful.
Yep.
These are the best. I have the best problems right now.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So you don't need to worry about the friends, keep on, if they say that, asking you to reply or to send messages, they will understand. Of course, you're Binibining Pilipinas International, so they will understand that. No worries about that. You just need, time or understanding from you. And I believe they will. No worries about that. And
Thank you for the reassurance.
all right. And when's your homecoming, by the way?
We still have to decide on a date. I'm really hoping it's going to be within this month.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somewhere in the 20s
Mhm.
of August. But no promises yet.
Mm-mm.
It's still needs to be settled with the org as well as with my team in Cebu, the
Mhm.
LGUs.
Mm-mm.
So I don't want to tell you a date and then it's not happening. I don't. Yeah, I'm not. We haven't decided yet.
Oh yeah,
So
no worries. And then, Nicole, let's just do like a throwback. So, of course, you participated in the Grand Santa Cruz and then the national costume, right? So, can we discuss about it because we wanna, showcase the craftsmanship aside from you, of course, the Filipino designers. So, can you tell us about your Santa Cruzan costume and, of course, the national costume that I personally saw with my own eyes?
you were in the audience.
Yes, I was there.
Oh,
I was there with my
oh, wasn't
photographer.
it?
Yes, I was there. Even with
This
the what do you call this? The talent competition. I was not in the what do you call this? The parade because I have a taping that day, so I wasn't able to see you during the Grand Parade of Beauties. But costume and then the press presentation and then what do you call this? Of course, the coronation. I was there. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so with the Santa Cruzan, we were assigned our specific reinas. So
Yes,
reina of this, reina of
right.
that. And I was assigned as reina abogada, which is I think the judge. Ooh, how sneaky. How and I was the only queen that wore all black. This
Yes.
ensemble was designed by Edward Castro. He's also
Mhm.
stylist at he's the head stylist at Origin.
Yes.
And that book I'm holding there, it's
Mm-mm.
a real encyclopedia. It was
Oh my God.
mabigata, guy.
See, it's a good thing I asked. At least it's a story, right?
those,
So yes.
those flowers on my head, Mama Dave from ASIS placed those. Bought it the same day, and I was so proud of how it turned out because, to be honest, I was a little hesitant. I was like, I'm wearing black
Mm-hmm.
on Santa Cruzan, but it turned out so well, and I'm happy with the way I carried it out, and especially props to to the staff there who are moving the
The arc,
the signage
the
for
arco,
me.
the arco,
Rina
yeah.
Abogada. So apparently the judge, she chooses whether or not you're worthy. I think of
Mhm.
going to heaven or hell, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And that felt super cool to me. Like I don't know how they decided who
Uh,
was gonna be which Reina, but I'm so proud that I got to wear Edward Castro for this one.
mm-mm.
You could see there are these details around this robe.
Right. And it's a good thing that you're not wearing those big thermals, the bulky, the heavy with the headdress and everything. At least you're just wearing black and that thing.
I
Only
mean,
with
I'm a
the
little sentimental because I've always admired those big turtles.
yes.
Those because it gives me princess vibes.
Ay, okay.
I admire that, but I'm really proud of how this one turned out. It was better than I was expecting because when I googled Reina Abogada,
Mm-mm.
we were oh my gosh, okay, I'm ready to share this. We were actually given these themes, like our pegs, that's what we call them, like what you're supposed to wear with
To
your
wear.
outfit, like what props you're supposed to carry, all that.
The character, the
So
assigned
aside
character of the Santa Cruz and that thing,
Yes.
right?
Aside from the color
Uh-uh.
of black, they also like the peg for mine was graduation outfit. I was like, graduation outfit? There's no shape to that. It's like a cloth. It's just a piece of cloth. And
Yes.
how are we gonna work with that? How are we going to make it happen? But luckily,
Mm.
my designer just knew right away, like, don't worry about this. I
Mm-mm.
got you. Have faith. Just
Mm.
trust me.
Mm-mm.
And thank God I did because it looked so much better than how I envisioned it.
Uh-huh.
And my prop was a giant book.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
during the walks, I would like switch it from one arm to the other arm. And by the end of it, my muscles were huge.
And this is exactly the reason why I asked about your Santa Cruzan terno or the your costume, because this is quite unique and quite unusual. So that's why I asked, of course, to promote the designer of this outfit as well. Now let's proceed on your national costume.
Yes, I'm so proud of how the national costume turned out. To be honest, the it's more abstract of a
Mm-mm.
concept, and it's an ode to the peria or
Mm-mm.
the carnivals, especially those that we have throughout the country.
Mm-mm.
Usually, when you have a fiesta, there's usually a feria, a
Yes.
fair, and I'm a sucker for the fair. I grew up with the fair.
Uh-uh.
I would ride any ride I could find, like the Vikings,
Mm-mm.
and I would eat cotton candy all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
those games that you play, where
Mm-mm.
you like a ring toss or
Mm-mm.
any of those. If you see the details on this national costume, the sides are supposed to represent Magellan's Cross.
Yes.
The roof of
There.
Magellan's Cross. It's very playful and huge, huge fashion, like fashion icon
Mm-hmm.
aura for me. I could picture myself wearing this even outside of a national costume show.
Right.
The details are also an ode to the designer, Miss Axel Ke,
Mm-mm.
because he also has Wangenyo roots.
I
So
see.
a lot of inspiration from that there,
Mm-mm.
as well as the hat. It was actually added because I didn't see it during the initial sketch. So when she decided to include a hat, I was like, "Oh, what does the hat represent?" And she mentioned
Mm-mm.
those ma magus, majoli, like no, those the head, the leader of
The
a parade with the baton.
baton. Okay, yeah, the
What do they call it?
Margarette, right?
Margarine.
I was thinking that as
baton.
well. Margarette, yeah, the baton twirler
Oh
or
my!
whatever, the
Please cut
Margarette.
that part out. Cut
Yes.
out my mistake, please. Yeah, the margarette.
Yeah.
So there's so many like combinations, so much inspiration,
Uh-huh.
even outside of Cebu, that I really admire it. And the colorful ribbons at the bottom not only represent that joyous feel of being in the area, but
Yeah.
also being part of the LGBTQIA community.
Right.
For the designer, it's a show of pride.
Mm-mm.
Those little bead. If you see closely, there's beadwork.
Yes.
Not only on the hat, but throughout the ensemble. It was done by hand.
Oh.
Can you take a moment to imagine that by
Yes.
hand, one at a time, and those beads are so like sobrang liit.
Mm-mm.
I don't have
Tiny.
the patience for that. I'm just so I'm in awe of
Mm-mm.
how I'm honored enough to have worn
Nicole,
such
is it
precise-
heavy?
I would compare it to holding a glass of water, not in terms of weight, but because it's not as heavy when you first hold it
Mm-mm.
for like a few minutes. But the moment it becomes like an hour or so, it was super painful on my shoulders
Mm-mm.
because that's where all the weight was. I think it's about 10 kilos, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. But for
And I could not move my arms. I couldn't move my arms. So if you see in the video, I'm just there swaying because my hands. I was like a T-Rex. My hands couldn't go anywhere.
uh-uh.
So I just kept swaying and swaying in the hopes of people seeing
Mm-mm.
the emotion that we want to bring out
Yes.
with the Beria. It's almost like it's dreamlike. It's joyous. Like there's no care in the world. And it's also an ode, especially to Sinulog,
Yes.
with the color, by the way,
Mm-mm.
bold red in
Mm-mm.
honor of Santa Niño. But we didn't want to focus on just one specific festival.
Yes.
We wanted it to be relatable throughout the country. And although it may not have been something for people to indicate at first glance, I think that's even better because it tells a story. It makes people wonder, oh, what is this about? And it makes you want to ask.
Right. Okay. I can see in your costume that it didn't focus on the red one, the Centennial or the Sinulog. It's just like a combination of color and different, if I may say, like festivities in Cebu, right?
Absolutely. And I like to think it's relatable
Mm-mm.
throughout the country.
Mm-mm. And I
But
like.
all the islands, we have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
The festivals, the fairs, the fun.
Mm-mm. And I like the interpretation of Magellan's Cross, the sleeve. You said that earlier, right? So it's Magellan's Cross interpretation. So it's
And props. Thank you so much.
yes, and it's a
So
good and I love it when you explain it clearly and in detail because we want to showcase, of course, the Filipino craftsmanship with your costume. That's why I asked.
feel free to check out my Instagram. I do post about it.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
why. And Nicole, I know that you will compete next year pa, di ba? So you have long way to prepare for Miss International. And I'm not sure if I am right or if I'm going to ask this question, will you be wearing the same or creations from the same designers?
Well, for that, I think we're going to have to discuss it first with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Very open suggestions. And given that we have a year of preparation, there are so many things to explore. So I'd like to focus on not just the designers we'll be working with,
Mm-mm.
but also what we bring to the table outside of
Mm-mm.
our look, what we have to say, of course, the projects, the advocacies.
Mm-mm.
And in the meantime, cheering on our queens competing,
Right.
both in October and December.
Yes. Okay, that's actually nice to hear from you. But Nicole, before we continue our conversation, we'll pause for another break. Magbabalik ang Gising Na. At kayo'y nakatutok pa rin sa Ganyan ang Buhay dito sa Gising Na. And still with us is Binibining Pilipinas International 2022, Nicole Borromeo. Welcome back, Nicole.
Still here.
Of course, we're almost done or we're almost on the last part of our conversation with the beautiful and intelligent Nicole. So you have like almost a year and a half to prepare for the Miss International, I guess, if my math is correct or if my calculation is correct. So have you talked to previous title holders? What did they advise you ba?
To be honest, it's only been a week,
Mm-mm.
and Hannah's still in Masbate,
Mm-mm.
and the previous queens I have yet to contact.
Mm-mm.
To be honest, I'm still very shy.
Mm-mm.
I also haven't settled on a date to meet them if ever, considering we still have our media rounds. We had it last week and we're having it this week as well. So
Mm-mm.
until I find time and when they're free as well, I would love to sit down with them and really ask them about their experiences. But look, and luckily for me, I have at least a year.
Mm-mm.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Right. And of course, we will support you. You know that the whole country will support you on your next journey.
I'm like so excited, so. We won't be wearing Cebu.
Mm-mm.
I'll be wearing Philippines.
Philippines, and then you will shout Philippines, or you will, you know,
Oh, for
carry
real?
the sash or wear the sash rather.
It's oh my! I can't wait. I
Mm-mm.
can't.
We can't wait as well. All right, so we're talking about your international journey. So, my last question to you, Nicole, is why should you be the next Miss International?
Well, when you ask my friends, I hope that they say it's because of my curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I look at the world and wonder how I can contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
Feels so good to feel needed, to be part of a community, to be a part of something bigger than yourself that's going to change and impact lives.
Mm-mm.
And ultimately, I do want to be a storyteller in the things that I do. So I think being Miss International Philippines
Mm-hmm.
and eventually, with the grace of God,
Mm-hmm.
stars aligning,
Mm-mm.
the international, Miss International, I get to do that.
Mm-mm.
I get to continue what I want to do with a larger reach.
Mm-mm.
And who doesn't want that?
Right. And we believe you can do that.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. So at this point, Nicole, if you want to say something or maybe like your parting words, please go ahead.
Well, to my fans, to my supporters, to my family, my friends, we did it. It actually happened. It's when I got crowned, it really felt like a dream. Like it didn't sink in, and it's been a week now, and I'm happy to say it has sunken in, and I can't believe it. It's huge, and I wouldn't have been where I was if it wasn't for the support system. I always give credit to the support system because I'm not an island. No man is an island.
Mm-hmm.
I could live without them. I've had so many days where I would break down. I would feel so much self-doubt. And I had people bring me out of that negative place
Mm-hmm.
that I owe so much to them.
Mm-mm.
To my fans who believed in me. Grabe, maraming salamat po. They didn't even know who I was.
Mm-mm.
I came from Cebu. I didn't have as many supporters. I'm not from the place, yet they saw something in me that was worth believing in, that was worth telling me
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I'm rooting for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, you believe in me? So it almost feels like an insult not to do the same thing.
Mm-mm.
And it takes a lot of heart for someone to go up to somebody and say, hey,
Mm-mm.
you can do it. You have the ability
Mm-mm.
to be international, and I see it, you can do it, and it's empowering for me, and I want to do the same for other people. So thank you so much, you've done so much more than you think.
Mm-mm. And there you go, our Binibining Pilipinas International 2022, Nicole Borromeo. Thank you very much for gracing our early morning show, and thank you also to your friend Teresa for allowing you to use that space with you during this interview. And we wish you good
Shout
luck.
out, Teresa Espargo.
We wish you good luck. Stay safe and good luck.
Thank you.
You're
Take care.
welcome. Thank you very much. Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated, or BPCI, Araneta Group of Companies, PR Team, Ray and Leroy, and Araneta City, the City of First. At sa muling pag-ere ng ganyan, nabubulol na ako, ba't gano'n? Sa muling pag-ere ng ganyan ng buhay, dito sa Gising Na, ang 5 newly proclaimed 22nd edition Miss Philippines Earth Queens naman ang ating makakausap ng live. Abagan sina Miss Ecotourism Nice Lampad of Bayungan City, Miss Philippines Fire Erica Vinatan of Legazpi City, Miss Philippines Water Angeline May Santos of Trece Martires, Miss Philippines Air Jimena Tempra of Hasaan, Misamis Oriental, and Miss Philippines Earth Jenny Ramp of Santa Ignacia Tarlac. Yan po ay sa Biyernes. So, samahan niyo muli kami para sa isa na namang araw ng punong-puno ng kagandahan, katalinuhan, at inspirasyon tuwing umaga. Dahil ganyan ang buhay dito sa Gising Na.
Daily Tribune would like to thank the following: Makati City, SM Supermall, Sharp, Century Peak, Prime Homes, Tulfo, DOTR Railway, LRTA, LRMC, Megawide, PGMA, DBP, CAAP, ICTSI, Aboitiz Power, Aboitiz, Udena, Cocogen, Globe, NLEX, Team Energy, MPT, Philcomsat, FDC, RCBC, Divina Law, Maya, Smart Trade, HMNF, LG, Smart, Maybank, PLDT, Caliraya, Mr. Freeze, Senator Villar, Meralco, Republic Cement, Century Property, EK, Mapicon, Carranza, Houseland, Pag-ibig, Meralco, Isuzu, Toyota, Toktok, Suzuki, MG, Angkas, Mitsubishi, Beautyderm, SM Retail, NAC, Mondelez, BPI, Araneta, Insight, Pure Gold, Deco, Watson, Copiroti, Pagcor, and Simply Thai.